So today we're going to practice something called rain. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this concept of rain, but it's very hard because you can't find a quiet space. Oh, you can't quiet the mind. Well, welcome to your mind. Welcome to everybody's mind, right? That is your job. That's the job of your mind to bring information to you. So you're never going to quiet your mind. You just kind of have to hang out with it like you hang out with your dog and your cat and your children and things like that. You kind of go, oh, yeah, yeah. And then you return to what you need to do. I think that's the best way to, because it doesn't go away. And then if it goes away, you start thinking, why did it go away? So then it just comes back anyway. So it might as well just be your friend. Um, but yes, I get it. All right. So, rain is this practice called recognizing something's occurring, allowing or giving space to the idea that this thing is occurring, whether it's a good or bad feeling or emotion, thought, whatever it is. And then this idea of investigation about what does it feel like? What is it? How can I be in tune with it? And then the N is for not identify or nurture something that allows you to live with what's occurring. So this is the last piece in the series where we're going to talk about difficult thoughts and emotions. So you don't need to memorize any of this. I'll walk you through rain and we'll just practice. So let's begin with our focal point and maybe take some deep breaths in through our nose, out through our mouth. And maybe if we can take longer exhales than inhales. So see if the letting out of the breath can become a little longer. Maybe close your eyes. See if the breathing is allowing your body to soften a little bit. You're a little bit more relaxed. Check in with your body. See where there's tension, pain, discomfort. Maybe it feels hot, maybe it feels cold. Just kind of check in. Sometimes we don't have a big opportunity to allow our body to speak. Just kind of let your body guide you. See where it takes you. And if you do find something like maybe your neck is feeling a little tense or your hands feel really tight from being on the computer, see if by your breath and either touching your body area directly, you can soften with the intention that your body's been listened to, that this is a moment where you can relax. This is a moment where you can pay attention for yourself for this little bit of time. We've got you covered on the Zoom. You don't need to worry. We're going to end on time. And if you need to do any movements, anything that brings you closer to what feels comfortable, do that. So I'd like to invite you to bring to mind any current situation and where you feel stuck, or one that it feels like a difficult it your reaction feels like a something difficult, maybe something that feels like fear or anger or shame or even hopelessness, or makes you very, very disillusioned. Don't be afraid to pick something difficult. This is this time for you. If it becomes too difficult or you're not able to hang on to the meditation, you can always open your eyes and you can stop the meditation. But I invite you to see if there's something that's difficult that you could take a look at right now. So it might be, you're having a conflict with a family member, or maybe you have a chronic illness, or maybe there's something that's really difficult at work, or maybe there's pain, or maybe there's somebody in your family who has an addiction, or maybe you had something, like a conversation that now you regret that you had. So take a couple of moments to kind of register the experience. Visualize the scene, look at the situation, maybe even remember the words that were spoken, what were the most distressing parts of that situation? What made you feel the most maybe vulnerable? And just take some deep breaths. Just see how that feels in your body. Don't try to push anything away. So this is the beginning of recognize what's happening. What's happening inside of you right now? Maybe what sensations you feel. Maybe you have emotions. Maybe some tears come out. Maybe you just have like these churning thoughts of what if and why didn't I and I could have. And just kind of look and see if you can be aware of what's the predominant emotion or the tone of that situation, just for yourself. Then for no other reason, just to recognize. You don't have to fix, you don't have to analyze, you don't have to say that every time I deal with my mom, this is what happens. Just recognize. Maybe you need to take some deep breaths. And then we move to the A, which is allow your life to be just as it is. Just as it is. So you can send a message to your heart to let it be that this whole experience is you can accept no matter what comes or come what may. You can allow the reality, the totality of all of that. Like you can say words like, yes, I understand, or I consent, or I see, or I let it be. And see what that brings for you, right? Is it bringing up and just see if you're really saying no, that you might be saying the words, I allow it, but you are contracted or you're resisting or you might be saying yes, but you might be saying, I hate this. And it's okay. It's all part of just us being human together. Just notice what is true without judgment as much as possible, without pushing away or trying to control or thinking that it was this way this time, but next time I'm gonna know. And the eye is to investigate, right? With this gentleness, this equanimity, an even tone, maybe even with curiosity. Maybe you say, what's the worst part of what's happening? What about this thing that's happening most wants my attention? What is it? See if that brings anything for you. Maybe you say, what is the most difficult or painful thing that I am believing about this right now? What is it? Not because you want to fix it or change it, just to look. Maybe you look and you say, well, what emotion does this bring up for me? What is it that I'm really feeling about all of this? Is it fear, anger, grief, um, helplessness? Maybe taking a look, taking some breaths. See where your feelings are the strongest. Where do they hit your body the strongest? Maybe think about your facial expressions, or maybe the way you stand. Maybe you feel like you become small, or maybe you feel like you've got to wear, a big jacket or something to protect yourself. Just kind of notice. And maybe you look to see if these feelings feel familiar. Maybe it's something that you've experienced before, maybe earlier in your life. And maybe you look to see what's the most vulnerable part of this. And if that hurt or that vulnerability comes in the service of healing, what is it telling you? If it could communicate, what would it say? Maybe it's colors, maybe it's feelings, maybe it's an image or a memory. Maybe you could even ask the question of, how does this part want me to be with this? How is it that it wants me to see this? And then maybe you can see and say something like, what does this part most need? Like what is it need? Maybe love, wisdom. And I caution you not to get stuck in, this idea that investigation means analyzing. seeing how, like the roots of how this happened. Instead, I want you to think about what's going on. Keep bringing attention to your body, seeing where you feel like you're contracting. Feel those sensations. See where you feel the most vulnerability. And I invite you to take on that when you're fully present to the experience, however that comes for you, is to listen. And once you hear whatever it is, the message that comes in service of healing, that's where the healing begins. Listen for the message. Maybe it is there today. Maybe it's not there today. Maybe this is hard. And what you can do is send some loving kindness and see if maybe the next time there's going to be some additional healing. Maybe the message moves in a different way the next time. Because there'll always be a next time. And then we begin with the N, or we end with the N. So, as you maybe get a feeling for what is it that you need, what is your natural response? So you nurture that loving presence. You can call on the most wise and compassionate part of who you are. Or maybe you could send yourself even a loving message, or you can think of giving yourself a tender embrace, and maybe you can imagine somebody that you trust holding you with love. Feel that love. See if you can experience your inner spiritual person that way. Maybe you need to use words, or maybe it's an image. See what feels nurturing for you. See if you could get to a space where you could be vulnerable with yourself and forgive yourself and give yourself grace and feel safe. And so we'll take 3 minutes and you can explore that, and then I'll come back. All right, friends, as we come to the end of our meditation, I invite you to put one hand on your heart and the other hand on top of that hand. Just press down. You send yourself some loving kindness. Maybe you can say some words like, may I be safe. May I be loved. May I know happiness. May I know joy. Take a deep breath in and out. And whenever you're ready and in your own time and space, you can open your eyes.